Good evening, and thank you so much for this opportunity to apply for chief administrative positions with Peoria Unified School District. There are five questions you asked me to respond to. The first question asks, what are my past experiences that will be indicators for future successes with Unified School District? And I'm paraphrasing. But the first question, my past experiences as teacher, curriculum leader, assistant principal, assistant principal in charge, and currently principal has allowed me to grow in the profession and to see the progression of how to uh, make a school district better. I will give you two specific examples. One specific example is as leader, my successes of getting our school out of a priority school status and making AYP was to create an admin team. And in that admin team, it consists of teachers across the content area, teachers in special ed, teachers in different areas in my building, non-instructional staff, parents, students, and community partners, myself, and my assistant principal. And what we do, we meet every Friday to discuss ways on how to improve academics, to improve the culture and climate in our buildings, and to increase parental involvement. And being a part of this admin team for the last 6 years, it has allowed our school to grow professionally. It has allowed our kids to reach their academic goals. And we also have increased student and parental involvement in our curricular nights and in our school as a whole by 38%, which is a great increase in the last few years. So I must say that meeting with this admin team to discuss how we can utilize and best utilize the successes of our school by creating what we call data walls and data doors in our school where it's user friendly. So when parents come in, when teachers and students see the data doors and data walls, it gives the students a glimpse, a very quick glimpse of where they stand academically, where they stand based on their attendance, where they stand on their behavior. So we do this in grades K through 8. We are in the process of incorporating in preschool because preschool is not mandated, but we still have a process that we have in place, but it does not have the data walls, the data doors for those classrooms. So that's one specific example to show the successes we have made and gained as an admin team to increase student achievement and to um, bridge that gap so that we can have student successes across our school. The next example is creating what we call professional learning curriculums, which is a branch off of professional learning communities. And on Wednesdays, every Wednesday, our students are grouped together as a cohort based on their ability. And their ability is based on where they are academically. So we look at their test scores, we look at the data that is presented to us as a team, and we group those students based on their academics so that we can push them a little further. Now the students are on in a smaller cohort where we have the whole school body where they group students into their ability grouping, but it's more on a smaller scale so that students can meet those needs and those goals that we outline for them based on their IDPs, which is their individual development plan. We want to develop our students to do better, to become better readers, to become better mathematicians. So those are things we've done to increase that. The second question you asked, describe my vision for technology. Technology is so vital in our schools and across the globe. We need to make sure that students in grades pre-K to 12 have ample access to technology so that they can be globally ready and globally prepared and competitive across the country. We want to make sure, I know in my particular school, I created a STEM program in our building so that we can incorporate technology across all grade levels and across all content areas within our school. Technology has become the catalyst for student growth. We know that many tests are now computer generated. We want to make sure that our students are ready globally, not only for tests, but to be able to use that technology so that they can be able to create and generate and be innovative in technology where they can be the next inventor for whatever technology there is out there. Our students are coding now. Our students are using it for robotics and academic games and various other softwares that the district has provided. So we want to make sure that technology is incorporated in all grades, pre-K to 12. But the other thing is we have to ensure that teachers, instructional and non-instructional staff, are also receiving um, professional development in technology so they can go ahead and teach students the best practices in technology for the 21st century. So the more our teachers and our non-instructional staff are equipped and our administrators are equipped with technology, where they feel comfortable with doing technology, then we can have our students feel comfortable as well. Even though we know our kids can learn anything, they grasp onto things as quickly as it comes out, and they can teach us a thing or two. But we need to be, as educators, equipped and ready and prepared to teach our students technology. So technology is very important. The third question you asked me is about federal and state laws and governing boards and how would I navigate those factors to best meet the needs of our district. And what I do currently, I am, as a principal, I look at what we can utilize best with our federal dollars and with our state dollars so that we can have the comprehensive programs that are needed for our students across the board. We have to make sure that as a district, we follow those guidelines, we meet the mandates that are given to us by the state and by the federal government. But how do we utilize those funds? How do we utilize those policies to ensure that everyone is taking heed to how we as a district can best utilize those funds? And I would say that currently as a principal and utilizing the funds that I receive from my individual building, which is like over $500,000. And I had a building where we had over $1 million that I had to use those fiscal funds to generate programs and to come up with ideas that will best meet the needs of our children. So we have to make sure that we are in line, that we show integrity when it comes down to using fiscal or using dollars that come from the state and the federal government so that we are able to help students and help families to increase their parental involvement, to come up with ideas that will bridge that gap. We have a huge gap in education, and we need to bridge that gap so it can close up so we can meet those academic needs of our students. So that's another way I would use federal government dollars for day-to-day operations for our students and for our staff. The fourth question you asked me is to give specific examples of how I would work with principals, and I currently do that now. I am a principal mentor with my school district where I created a cohort of principals where we meet once a month. We actually help encourage each other, feed off each other, get ideas from each other, and we came up with some ideas on how we can best utilize our skill sets to help our particular schools. Yes, the district has their own things that they do, but as a principal mentor, which I decided to do some years ago to help incoming principals or novice principals so that we could use our skill sets to better meet the needs of our schools and to help increase parental involvement. So one thing that I do, I meet with the building principals, and what we do is we have come up with a form that we created based on what the state has already handed out for us to have teacher evaluation processes and forms. So what I did was I created my own form to make it more easier and more user friendly for principals, but also is able to give feedback using the Danielson model and the Marzano LSI model. And I incorporated those together so that we could give teachers a better feedback immediately, not later on in the game, but we give teachers immediate feedback. So those are some specific examples I do as a principal mentor, and I want to branch this off to the entire district so that every administrator will feel comfortable, will not feel that they're alone, because sometimes the school districts, they have a tendency to leave people out. So I want to make sure we do that. And I'm sorry by flipping pages, but the last question asks, why am I the best candidate? I would say I'm the best candidate, 1, because I'm innovative, 2, because this is my calling, 3, because I am compassionate. I love what I do, and I want to use my skill set to another school district so that we can best utilize what we have as a team so we can bridge the gap, so we can close that achievement gap, so that we can have more parental involvement, and so that we can have more professional development for our teachers. I thank you so much for this opportunity to provide my feedback, which is limited, so that you guys will understand me as a person. You can see my compassion for what I do. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Have a blessed one.